Hello everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. This is day number 59 of 100 Days of Magic, and today we're going to take an EDH look at Mercadian Masques. It came out in October of 1999, so we're still looking at right at 20 years ago. And it had 350 cards. This is a huge set they used to. And they were split. 110 rare, 110 uncommon, and 110 common with 20 basic lands. It made collecting sets way harder than it is now because everything was the even split. But that being said, let's get into it. Afterlife is, I think, one of the better. Now it is 3 mana, and I know Swords and Path are 1 mana, but it does say just destroy target creature. Can't be regenerated. Yeah, they get a spirit token as their consolation prize, but it's a good white removal spell. And after all, you can only have 1 path and 1 swords in your deck anyway. So, Armistice. Now, a lot of people don't think a lot of this card, but if you are running the mono white EDH, you'll take card draw whenever you can get it. And repeatable, albeit expensive. 5 mana, opposing player gets 3 life, but that's still a card. It's reusable card draw. Yes, there are better cards, but there are times when messing with opponent's life total, even making it go up, is beneficial to us. Chomono, everybody's favorite pariah target. Chomono is a rebel. Mercadian Masques gave us the rebels and the mercenaries. We will get in more to those mechanics later on, but he was the legendary. He just couldn't take damage. And that lets us do so much with him. Crackdown. Now, this is not even close to being a fair Magic card. Non-white creatures with power 3 or greater don't untap. So, obviously, I run it in mono white. I believe I've got it in Avacyn. I think I have it in Radiant. Just all the crazy stuff. If it ain't white and it's big, it just stays tapped. You couple that with creatures that are the battlefield tapped, and it's a beating. Fountain Watch. Now, funny thing about Fountain Watch is it took me a while to realize this was a creature. And I'm cutting off the bottom of the card so we can't really see it, can we? 2/4. And it's really good for just redundancy if we are running decks that care about such things, like, with head of custody and whatnot. But I like the Fountain Watch. It is a little known card. Most people don't think of it. Honor the Fallen. Nuke all graveyards. Yeah, all cards in our graveyards. It hits you too, but all creatures. It just shuts down your reanimate deck, and it takes a good chunk out of dredge and things like that as well. The life gain is not nothing. I've gained some crazy life off of Honor the Fallen. Ivory Mask. I know there's a leyline version of this now, but this was the first one that just said, "Hey, I'm MC Hammer." So I like it. I don't use it as much as I probably should. The big reason why I use it is I know I've got one in Avacyn, because Avacyn is indestructible, but they can still target me with a Cruel Edict or Diabolic Edict type card and make me sacrifice. So if they can't target me, then that's out of the question. Noble Purpose. Here again for that crazy life gain deck. I hate keep going back to Sarah Avatar, but I've had tons of fun with that card over the years, and why not? It really. How many games do you lose to regular going to 0 life as opposed to losing to commander damage? Most of the time, in my experience, I lose to going to 0 life. And this helps negate that. The rebel mechanic, that's what they call this, gating. Now, rebels had, in Mercadian Masques anyway, rebels had the ability, this was the 1-drop that searched out the 2-drop. And there were a lot of rebels, most common, uncommon, even some rare, that were just kind of white dudes. But the gators actually got you the next level up. The 1-drop got you the 2-drop, and the 2-drop got you the 3. The 3 got you the 4. I think the 4 got you the 5. And the next set, of course, we get the Rebel Queen. It was decent. I had fun with it. I still have a Rebel deck to this day. I don't know what number that is. It's way back there, though. Lynn Sivvy. We'll get to her in the next set. Story Circle was just all kinds of powerful. Now, I love the fact that these guys are, if you look in their hands, there's a little totem thing of each color. There's white, red, black, blue, and green. It's really neat. I love how they worked functionality into the art. But it's a circle protection, choose your own color. And really, really good. Saved my life many times. Wave of Reckoning. This can kind of be a board wipe, if you will. If you build all square static creatures like 5/5s, 2/2s, whatever, will kill themselves. But obviously, if we're running Wave of Reckoning, this is a favorite in the wall deck because, my creatures don't care, and it kills. Because a lot of the aesthetics of Magic, square static creatures are preferred, and this takes advantage of that. Bribery. I love Bribery. Just, I'm going to go get your best creature. Yeah, I'm not going to get to cast trigger for this Ulamog, but you know what? I still got your Ulamog. Charisma. I've been out of charismas for a while. I need like 15 of these Joker. First off, that is Gerard Compassion looking like he is just on top of the world. But deals damage to a creature, you control that creature. So, we played this with just good old-fashioned Prodigal Sorcerer and things like that. If you wanted to start stacking them up on a Horseshoe Crab with Hermetic Study and get crazy stuff. Love using this with Niv Mizzet. I just love it. Creature you control deals combat damage to an opponent. You may draw a card. Yeah, there are lots of better blue card draw, but as far as a permanent, if you are going the blue aggro route, maybe some kind of tribal with Merfolk or whatever, this is not a bad card to have. Cowardice. Whenever a creature becomes target of spell or ability, return it to its owner's hand. Here again, the Plinker aspect. The little Prodigal Sorcerer is not going to kill the 5/5, but it will make it go away for a turn. And just keep on bouncing it. Now, I've seen some crazy shenanigans with Cowardice and turning lands into 2/2 creatures and just keeping them off their land drops. Not really destroying them, but where they can't advance. I don't know about all that. Diplomatic Immunity. Diplomatic Immunity, to my knowledge, is one. There's not many cards like it. It gives Shroud, and it has Shroud. How you've got to deal with the boots now, since we use the Swiftfoot boots and the Lightning Greaves, is we got to kill the Greaves and then we kill the creature. Well, Diplomatic Immunity, you're like, no, man. The only way you're getting it is a sweeper. So, and it one blue specific, that's really, really good. Oh, gosh. Speaking of card draw, oh my gosh. It's really, really good card draw. The Gush and the Forbid was real good together. The Gush plus any counter spell, any of those free ones that make you discard or whatever. But it's good. It's had a painted history of being banned in some formats and not being banned in other formats, and I don't know. That art always makes me. I know the card's name is Gush, and that's the only thing that makes me think that that is a gushing plume of water instead of a giant iceberg thing. I don't know. Karn's Touch. Now, March of the Machines is a real thing, and it's good. I like March of the Machines. But sometimes you just want to pinpoint one specific. Now, obviously, this is Karn's ability from the Karn Silver Golem. But the ability to do this just, as a one shot, I have kind of enjoyed. And this is a card a lot of people don't even know exists. Misdirection. Because this is back when they were learning that subverting mana cost is not a real good thing to do. But Misdirection's not as broken as some of the others. But now, I am telling you what, it's a... we likened it to, at the time, one more mana for a free deflection. And it saw some play, and I think this is kind of what kept deflection out of the spotlight over the long haul. Now, Soothsaying, I like some Soothsaying. It's a poor man's top, yeah. It's expensive, 5 to shuffle, and then, if you were comparing it to top and we want to look at the top 3, we're spending 3. But it does give you the option of shuffling those. I mean, top doesn't do that. You have to have another card to do that. And is it funny that it kind of looks like a top in the middle of their little circle of friends there? War Tax. Super Propaganda for X. Now, most games, yeah, it takes a lot of mana to lock out the attack phases on you. Personally, with all that mana. Now, the downside here is creatures just can't attack, period. Now, I think if we ever saw a revisit to this, it would be can't attack you unless... But now it just locks out from attacking anybody. So that's the beautiful part of this. But normally, at the table, you're not really scared of combat damage from everybody. It's just probably 1 to 2 players that you're like, ugh. So, I'm gonna spend about 4 mana. It takes 3 per creature. And a lot of times it's just enough to, buy you another turn if you're about to die. Oh, Black Market. I don't know what it is about black enchantments that just excite me. This card is amazing. I love it. Underappreciated. A creature is put into a graveyard. So this is anybody's creature in anybody's graveyard. So we're running black, so there's a good chance we're running Damnation or Plague Wind or Garrick's Wake or whatever. That's a whole lot of counters being put on Black Market. And then your pre-combat main, you get a black mana for each... Oh, those counters don't go away. Yeah, they just stay and keep getting bigger. And Black Market just keeps producing more mana. So, wow. It's a giant mana. Now, the Kaiteri Overlord is the top end of the mercenary chain. Now, the thing about the mercenaries, remember how the rebels went and got the next size up? Well, the mercenaries got the next size down, which I never really understood. So in order to populate a board, you had to start with the big one and get the next smaller one. I don't know. Maybe that's why the mercenaries never really took off like the rebels did. Also, the fact they didn't get the a Lin Civi version of the mercenary, but I don't know. He was the top of the chain. I never really cared that much for the mercenaries, but Thank goodness this guy's not legendary. Conspiracy, boy. This was the most aptly named card, I think, ever, because as soon as everybody saw it, we all started dreaming up conspiracies of what we could do with it. And how, tribal magic, early magic, didn't have a whole lot of tribalness to it, but we were playing it anyway. Goblins had Goblin King, Merfolk had Lord of Atlantis, and that's it. And we're playing that stuff anyway, even though it's bad. So this is one of the first cards that's like, what if? And it's just gotten better since. Forced March is a board wipe that I don't know that I've ever seen this cast in Commander. Sadly, including me. Forced March, it can be very selective. If you are running, on the higher end of the mana curve, then you can blow up all them tokens and elves and goblins and oh my. But enough mana and it just does wipe the board. There are better versions, and that's probably why I don't see it a lot, is it's not very... It's been eclipsed in efficiency, I think. Intimidation. The 5 mana cost here is really... Okay, Mercadian Masque coming right after Urza Block. Urza Block was an overpowered block. As a matter of fact, Combo Winter got all of R&D brought into, some disciplinary problems with the Wizards folk, but because of how broken it was. And so they had to power down Mercadian Masque. I don't know that it was powered down so much as just in comparison, everything looks powered down compared to Urza Saga. But Intimidation at 5 mana. Now, fear is not bad. Creatures you control have fear. So, that's really good if you are on the black aggro creature plan. It's and the fact that it's uncommon, it's not too hard to find. Larceny. Here again, if you are on the black aggro creature plan, I think I'm using Larceny in my Spectre deck, where I have a lot of, the cheap flyers that make them discard anyway, and then Larceny just kind of doubles up on that ability. Liability. I never cards, but yeah, here again, the Plague Winds and the Garruk's Wakes and what have you. Black is the undisputed king of removal, so its incidental damage is not bad to go along with it. Thrashing Wampus. Man, I've had some memories with this guy. I put in white black, I put a black ward on him so he can't take black damage, and either a spirit link or a vampiric link or something, and it's bananas. To just kill things, gain life, do all the things that you want to do. Yeah. Undertaker. Now, this is more or less a hand version of the Hell's Caretaker. Hell's Caretaker did creatures in play. Undertaker does cards in hand. You discard a card to get a creature back to your hand. So it's really good for just recursive creatures. And you can discard any card, if you... It doesn't have to be a creature. But, drawing too many lands, conditional removal that you can't use, whatever. Brawl. They would later go on to name the format after it. And the fight mechanic. This is one of the early predecessors that had fight in it. And all creatures gain it. So it's not really the fight mechanic per se, but it does have a distinct advantage on those creatures that are not sick. Cave in. Here's another. This is the Freaklasm. 2 damage to each creature and each player. That was the beautiful part here. You needed something for your 5 mana that you're never going to pay because you're just going to ditch a whatever. Magistrate's veto is brutal. Do you know how many creatures this encompasses? I mean, we play a primarily multicolor format, and when you say most of your Brea deck or Atraxa deck or whatever just can't block, in a mono red aggro build like mainly goblins, I know this shows. By the way, as a weird plot twist, if you don't know anything about the storyline of the Mercadian Masques, goblins were the ruling body. Yeah, super weird. Pulverize. Why not? Free Shatterstorm. Squee, our cabin boy on the Weatherlight, because goblins are the ruling body of Mercadian Masques, naturally when they landed, they assumed that Squee was in charge. The card actually is outstanding. Now, if you're using this as your commander, there's a good chance you'll never have to pay the commander tax. His entire ability is predicated on, discarding him to do effects, because you're just going to get him back. Two-headed dragon. Now, I went to the Mercadian Masques pre-release in Memphis. This was back when, you had to drive and there were big events and you had like one per state or whatever. I remember going, and I remember my opponent had a foil two-headed dragon. And we all thought it was the greatest thing ever. Can block 2 creatures, can't be blocked except by 2 creatures, and, double fire breathing, essentially. It's Shivan Dragon with 2 heads, only it's a 4/4. In retrospect, I think they probably could have made it a 5/5 and been fine. Ancestral Mask for all your Enchantress needs. Oh my gosh, this is the most busted common aura that there is. Just in play, it counts them all. It counts your opponents. It counts, and if you have done crazy Enchanted Evening shenanigans, it's nasty. Clear the land. Now, this is an iffy one. Each player reveals the top 5 cards of his or her library and puts into play tapped all land cards revealed this way and removes the rest from the game. Now, in a land-heavy deck, this can get you an advantage, but it also... Now, I'll be honest, where I have gotten the most joy from Clear the Land is when somebody has tutored wrong, to when they'll like main phase Vampiric Tutor or Worldly Tutor or whatever, and just leave it there on top of their deck until the entire turn rotates. And I'm like, well, I'll just clear the land and exile that. Because, Collective Unconscious. Green's card draw is tied to creatures, and you know what? I'm fine with that. There's a lot of it. There's so much green card draw. It's almost like the second best card drawing color, I think. But for each creature you control, 6 mana is supposed to be the leveling point of this card, but, elves don't care. Elves can come up with 6 mana on turn 3. Dawn Strider. Now, Mercadian Masques had Spell Shapers. And the idea with Spell Shapers, I don't think people got what they were supposed to be. I know I didn't for years. Because I'm looking at a 2 mana 1/1, green tap, discard a card, and then I get to fog? What? Why do I have to discard the card? Well, the idea behind the Spell Shapers is you're taking a card in your hand and turning it into a fog. It would really be no difference if you had a fog in your hand and you just cast the fog. You would still be out the card to get the effect. So that's why, and I never, it didn't really occur to me, but now I like it, but especially maybe for some of the black ones where, you can get cool triggers off of discard and you enable madness and things like that. But the spell shapers, it was not really understood what they were supposed to be. And once you are, and I know it's still the same card with the same ability, but once you wrap your mind around, hey, this allows me to turn any card in my hand into a fog, hey, that's not bad. As opposed to, I got to discard a card. It's just a different mindset. Foodchain, Prash's favorite card. Yeah. Whew. Converted mana cost +1. Now, by the way, tokens, converted mana cost is 0, so they get +1. So you get a mana out of every token. This seems fair and balanced. Groundskeeper. It took forever for this one to see a reprint, by the way. It's enjoyable. I love to get back the basic. And you don't tap to use it. You can, I don't know, I've had tons of fun with this. Recovering mainly Zeranorbed land or discards or what have you. Now, Vernal Equinox is one of the earliest. Now we've got Veldaken Ore that is, vastly superior. But Vernal Equinox is what we had back then. Just creatures and enchantments, but it was for everybody. That was the thing. Now, it still may not be terrible in Enchantress-style decks. I don't know. I haven't used it in years since we got better versions, obviously. There's always somebody at the table who's got no hand. Well, at least by the time you're casting this. So, and here again, I'm always on the lookout for card draw and mana ramp, things like that. And your initial 5 mana investment is a little steep. I'll grant you that. But if somebody has no cards in hand and it's just tap, draw a card, it's pretty good. Crumbling Sanctuary. To my buddy Clay, I know you're watching, Clay. Loves this card. He gave me a foil copy. But for each 1 damage that would be dealt to a player. Now, this is a replacement effect because it uses the term instead. Removes the top card of his or library. So, in mass damage, if you are just... I've used this a ton. Because, it's exiling cards. It's not milling them. It's exiling. They're gone. Elf Overrun. Just combo damage. It's a lot of things. We have the Bones of Ramos. This was the first time that we had ever heard of this guy named Ramos. We didn't know who Ramos was. Turns out he was a dragon engine. I'm sure the story told us that, but it's and there was one of these bones for each color. I'm not going to show all of them because they're all identical. They're all 3 mana artifacts that tap to add the appropriate mana, and you sack them to add whatever that color is. So, the eye got you blue, the scale got you red, what have you. Ramos wept, and there were seas. Magistrate Scepter. Here again, now it should say Atraxa Scepter. Because you spend the 3, you spend the 4 to put a charge counter on it, and then you are off to the races with Proliferate. Yeah. It's a charge counter, so there's, thanks to the Mirrodin block, there's a lot of ways to interact with charge counters. Adding, moving, extras. Ooh. And I love the fact that you just remove the charge counters. You don't sacrifice the scepter or anything. Nowadays, we'd have to sacrifice it, exile it, kick yourself in the head to get an extra turn. But back then, nah. You just keep on keeping on. Especially if you've got the engine that says proliferate and then proliferate again. Oh. And you're thinking, what's Monkey Cage doing on this list? Now, I love this card. here again, I think I'm the only one I've ever seen ever cast this, and I've cast it since it came out. I love it. But a creature comes into play. You still get the creature and the monkeys. He's got the monkeys. I see the monkeys. So for 5 mana, it is a... Now, it's when a creature comes into play, and for our purposes, we can't really control, our opponents could very easily just, oh, you played a monkey cage? 1 drop. So, that's probably why we don't see it anymore. I played it in succession. I waited till I got enough mana. I played the monkey cage, and then I would play like a thorn elemental or something like that. Dustbowl. We're into the lands now. Dustbowl is an amazing one. Sack a land, destroy a non-basic land, and this is Lord Windgrace loves this card. The Get Wrecked monster loves this card. There's just so many good uses for the Dust Bowl. And it's not just... I like that it's non-basic land, so it doesn't encourage abuse. It does encourage dealing with things like Maze of Ith and Gaia's Cradle and what have you, those lands that just can overtake a game very quickly. High Market is just good old-fashioned creature sacrifice outlet. Yeah, your minor ability of gaining the 1 life, but it does give you an out to sack a creature. Rishadan Port. Now, I did not understand why this card was so good at the time. It took me years, too. It taps for a colorless, or you spend a mana and tap it to tap target land. So I'm occupying 2 land drops, this land, and the mana I'm tapping, to tap down 1 land. And I never really understood that. It took me years until I understood the tempo advantage and, locking somebody out of a color or what have you. It took a while. Tower of the Magistrate. Now, the reason why I love Tower of the Magistrate is for 1 mana and tap, you can unequip all equipment to target creature. They gain protection from artifacts, meaning they can't hold equipment. It all falls off. And, of course, you can do this at instant speed, provided you can target the creature. I mean, most of the time, once we start Voltroning up a creature, we're going to have Shroud or Hexproof on there, just as a rule. But it's a really good card. And that is what we have got for Mercadian Masques. I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But I think right now we're just going to see y'all tomorrow.